Thank you for joining us for another episode of USATF's Journey to Gold Zone podcast. I'm your host, Erik Kynard Jr., joined by the...
Wallace Spearman Jr.
That was a little unenthusiastic, bro. We might
Run
have
it back. Wallace Spearman Jr. No,
yeah. You know what I mean, Ryan? We got Ryan Medrano in a bit. Medrano, right?
Talk to
Come
him.
on, talk to
Yes,
me.
sir.
Yeah.
So just fine, unless you want to roll the R.
Medrano.
Ryan Medrano here.
¿Tú hablas español?
Poquito. My dad's Dominican. He adopted me. That's his last name. My last name, I'm proud to have it. He's a two-time. He has two Bronze Stars of Valor. He is a war hero. He is a PhD and a professor. He's fantastic. One of the smartest and most patient human beings I've ever met in my
You
life.
just full of secrets, man.
Listen, man, Ryan learned one of his greatest lessons.
It goes.
And I read it or listened to Ryan about your dad, obviously adopting you in the roots. I also listened to a podcast where you explained that he taught you one of the greatest lessons you've ever learned: sweeping up piles of trash in the kitchen.
So yeah, actually, it was on the back porch. We were in Missouri, the second place I ever lived, and I'm about 7 years old. And to give some backstory, because of my mild cerebral palsy, half when I was younger, cognitively, I had to process longer than regular people. They would even tell them in school, "Hey, he's not ignoring you; he's just processing so he can understand the task." So he was challenging me as an individual, not just one of the kids, but as what I needed to understand the world a little bit better. He goes, "Hey Ryan, there's that pile right there. Can you sweep it up?" But I didn't notice because for me, I had to go. Dad wants me to get the dustpan, get the broom, and sweep up that pile. That's the task I need to do. That's how I need to do it. But there was other piles on the back porch, so I go, I sweep it up. Hey, I'm done. He goes, "Now you're not in trouble. I just wanted you to have this perspective of there was multiple piles to clean up, and you could have a broader spectrum. You can have a broader perspective to go, hey, I can go 110%. I can go further than what he gave me this task to do, and I'm able to do it. Why not go 110%? If you're able to do it, it's not taken away from somebody. It is actually helping. Do that extra step because you can, because you're there already. Why not?" And I take that into practice. I take that into work. I take that into anything I do, and it's made a big difference. I've had coaches come up to me from when I started to 6 months later, and I make the international team for Paris, and they go, "What are you doing?" Because I've watched you start to you now, and it does not add up. Like 6 months of training does not add up to what you are doing. How are you doing it? So, well, I am hyper fixated. I literally think about it 24/7 all the time. I'm at work pushing a cart doing my leg strides. I'm walking on my toes to try to get a better ankle stiffness. Like 24/7, I'm focused on what I want to achieve. And this is that part of you can do 110%. I don't have to walk regularly. I don't care what other people think when I'm at work. As long as I'm getting my job done, I was fine. They're like, "You walking funny." I'm like, "Actually, I'm doing proper technique for getting my knees up and driving my knees, but I'm getting work done." I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." So it was that constant. No matter what, I'm always thinking of what I have to do next. Now, I work at Apple now, and I'll be standing there and I'm doing. I went to Colorado Springs to get some recovery, and they taught me toe yoga. Lift this toe, lift these toes. Lift this toe, lift these toes. So I'll be standing there if I don't have a customer. I'm doing toe yoga. I'm getting something done at all hours of the day towards my end goal. And that's becoming faster, beating myself each time I land on the track, and eventually getting gold.
Okay, now Paralympics, excuse me. I mean, you did Survivor 43. You kind of have an unconventional introduction into the sport of track and field. Talk to us a little bit about that, and then what was the motivation for kind of diving headfirst into a sport that doesn't have a swimming pool, figuratively speaking.
So I get on Survivor. I'm going there and I see, and to give you a little bit of backstory, why we connected so well. My mom has disability as well. My mom has traumatic brain injury from a major stroke, killed about 2/3 of her brain, was never supposed to walk, talk, be able to wipe herself ever again. This woman, I was just at her house the other day. She does cycling, she does marathons, she paints, she has like a whole gallery of commissions that she's doing right now. So I grew up from 11 years old seeing somebody that was supposed to not be able to do anything, that is quote unquote disabled, conquer the world. So when I saw Noelle Lambert pre-game and during the game, above knee amputee coming on Survivor, I'm like, that is a strong woman. I wasn't looking at her like, oh, I was like, I want to be on her team because she has been through some stuff that we would never even imagine. I saw this woman take her leg off mid challenge before we started. We're standing up 15 feet on this platform above the ocean, and she's like, should I do it with my leg or without my leg? And I can hear her talking to her team. And she's like, screw it. She takes her leg off. Does a whole challenge with one leg. So I'm seeing this woman, and I'm like, that is awesome. She told me she told everybody she was a lacrosse player, but I actually told her about my disability. I didn't tell everybody out there because it was strategic. So we get voted off, and I am killing it out there. I loved it out there. Every second I was out there, killing it out there. Noelle and I tried to make some alliances. We did great. We get voted off, and she goes, "I'm actually a Paralympian. You can do the Paralympics." And I'm gonna tell you, when I got voted off, immediately I started training. That next morning, I'm carrying all the weights they have up the big hill they have in Fiji. I'm running 5:30s on the treadmill. Like I was killing it. I got to beat somebody at something. And then that next day, she comes in with exactly what I wanted. I was thinking like physique competition, body, but I don't know. And she comes in with, you can be on the world's biggest stage, beating the world. And I thought, say less. We started training the next day. I got home. She sent me her regimen. I started doing it. I connected with Coach Max, started paying him to critique me, and started training myself for the first 3 months. I was actually working off of an injury with my left ankle from overusing it. And then so I had about 3 months to train until nationals to actually train on this ankle and really push. And within that 3 months, I was able to run the 100 and the 400 and do the long jump, which the 400 and the long jump, believe it or not, I didn't even know was in my classification. I was training for the 100 up until 2 weeks before. I go to sign up and I see I have the 100, 400, and long jump. And I told myself, why not? It's the same price, 110%. I'm going to do them all. I did my 100, did a good time in the 100. Then I do my long jump, and I didn't quite make it in long jump because I only had two practices. I jumped probably over a 6.6 meters, but it scratched, so it doesn't count, which would have been the A standard. And then I do my 400, and I'm going against Nick Mayhew in Jaden Blackwell. And I'm thinking, I haven't done a 400 in the last 9 years. This is the last race I have to make it. Like, I've been training for this. Like, all I can do is leave it all out there. There's nothing else to do. So I remember doing this 400, first 400 in years, and I just get out and explode. I'm saying the whole time going push, 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 push. I get to the last curve, and I'm real close to Nick, a lot closer than I thought I was going to. And I continue pushing that and driving that and saying push, 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 to the point where I swear I could hear his brain saying push, 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 push in his voice. It was the weirdest thing. So I don't know. It's real. It's a brain injury connection. Let's just call it that. I told him. I said I could hear you, like in my head when we were running. He goes, "That's crazy." So I finish, and I hit what I needed to for that 400 that I hadn't even practiced for. And my coach goes, I think we can take three T38s to Paris. Let me check. And we could. So, and then go from there. 3 months of actual training on these ankles, these legs to learn how to be a sprinter from being a 210-pound wrestler, making it to the international team in 3 months. And it was stupendous. It was amazing. Like I was like, oh my gosh. First time in Paris, I did all right. I was just excited to be out there. I hit my A standard, which I needed to hit to actually make money. I don't know if people know it, but for me, I had to train my butt off to even make it at nationals. I had to run two track meets fast enough to qualify for nationals. Then I had to run at nationals fast enough to qualify for Paris World Championships, not Paralympics, Paris World Championships. And then as an athlete to make it on to Team USA and get paid, get a stipend, and get health insurance, you have to run fast enough in an international meet. So you got a lot of hurdles to pass out of your own pocket and out of your own time before you even touch any type of financial help. So it was a journey. And being a new father and being somebody that had to support a family at home as well, it was a lot of time taken out. Now, it was cool taking trips to California to do track meets, bring family along, but it's not easy. It's not easy whatsoever to, and it's not even necessarily the training part. It's putting myself in an uncomfortable situation physically and psychologically. That's not hard. I can do that all day long. I was going to
Right.
the gym for free, not getting paid, and being uncomfortable all the time. So to get paid to be uncomfortable, great. It's juggling the family life, juggling the work life, and juggling the amount of training you have to do to stay on top, to continue going fast. And not only that, but the psychological of, am I doing enough? Like, you can only do so much, but is it enough in all three areas? It's something that is, you have to talk to the ones you love, you have to talk to your coaches, you have to talk to your teammates, you have to talk to yourself to go, yeah, there's only so much I can do. I am putting all that I can in each aspect of my life. I have to trust the process. I have to trust the amount of training I've done, so that when you get on the line in front of 70,000 people and you have to literally get into your start position 3 times because there was two like hiccups during your 100-meter race, you have that psychological strength and that willpower to stay in the zone, to run 0.03 seconds faster than the guy next to you to take second in the world. Like,
I'm gonna go out
boom.
on a limb and say I think he's pretty competitive. What do you think?
No, I would agree. I mean, pre Paris, obviously, Ryan, you did 7 months of training. You made the national team for Pan Am Games actually before
Yeah.
Paris, right? Taking the
And
gold in 100 meters, and I believe,
Japan.
yeah,
Sorry to
Kobe in
interrupt. Yeah.
2024. Like, yeah, no, you good. Yeah, so this is your story, bro. So you kind of got the cobwebs out as it related to competing internationally, knowing your competition, and kind of just having just like an oversight to what Team USA, relatively would be like outside of the Olympics. Were those things what you expected them to be, or do you think that the Olympics came with its own aura of challenges and kind of carried a lot larger moniker of a competitive international event?
I would say there is a difference. It is a bigger stage. There is higher stakes. But at the end of the day, it is about how you prepare. It's how you get yourself ready for that competition. It's how you get yourself prepared. If you did everything you possibly could, or at least my perspective, the way I feel about when I race, if I did everything I possibly could leading up, proper sleep, proper recovery, proper training, proper nutrition, asking questions to my coach, training when he tells me to train, resting when he tells me to rest, and putting in that effort on every single practice. There isn't and I don't even call it practice, it's training. Every single training session I go to, I don't give sorry, excuse my language, half-assed efforts. I don't. Like, I am putting 100%, unless my coach says 95%, 400, I'm putting 100% on every rep. I am looking at every video after every rep and going, okay, I need to fix this. So bringing that confidence in myself to it. There's a little nerves, but it was more execute, clear your mind, execute, clear your mind, execute. Now, the first couple of times, yes. When I was in Paris for the first time, I was coming back with literally 2 back injuries from the warehouse job I work in. So I probably trained between nationals and Paris the first time about 5 times. So I was a little nervous, and you could see it in my outcome, not necessarily my performance, but my outcome. I was fifth, fifth, like sixth and seventh, or fifth, fourth, and seventh. It was my first international. It's great. Then come time for Santiago, I trained and trained and trained and trained so much that I didn't have time to cut my hair. If you look at the pictures, and that was the first
Man,
time
I've never
getting
seen you with
gold.
a haircut in any picture.
I like it. I'm the type that goes, I don't have time for haircuts. I'll get it when I have to. I probably should have got one for this podcast, but the first time Santiago, when I hit gold, you'll see I'm running that 100, and I'll look over and I lean and I'm like, yeah, like I was like, yeah. Like I was excited. And I was like, I just got gold. I'm gonna do it again. And I did. I got gold in the 400 and I got gold in the 100. And the people that had ran before with me before or against me before and beat me were looking at me like, dang, I was doing well, but I wasn't expecting and I wasn't wanting this recognition without gaining. So as new athletes come in, understand, do your best and be okay with doing your best in the sense of putting the work in. Don't say I did my best if you cut out on practice during the break or you didn't go to sleep properly. No, you didn't do your best. 'Cause leading up to the event, you weren't preparing yourself for the best outcome. You have to control every little minute detail that you can because when you're out there, the only thing you can do is run or jump or swim. So you really have to control everything you can leading up to it so you have the best possible outcome because you're not going to get to perform on your best day. I'm going to tell you what, my first 2 years, even in Paris, that's why I went to Colorado Springs. I'm working off of an ankle that hates me, knees and hips that hate me because of my disability. So even in Japan, one of my tendons slipped in my left ankle and I couldn't put my foot down flat. So luckily I could sprint on my toe, but whenever I wasn't on the track, I was in pain. So you have to understand that you're not going to get to compete at peak. You're not going to be 110% like, oh, I feel great. You're going to have to go, my shins hurt, my knees hurt, my back hurts, but I'm a run and I'm going to do what I can do the best I can. And with that perspective, I had in my last 10 events, a PR in each event, whether it was long jump, 400, or a 100-meter sprint. I PR'd 10 events in a row on a body that wasn't 100%. So you really have to just trust in what you're doing, trust in the method, and go out there and do your best.
Now, Ryan, you talk a little bit about just now your disability, but I think that's the first time in this whole interview you actually mentioned your disability affecting a performance. Obviously, we know, I'll say, you didn't walk until you're 4 years old.
Yeah.
Right. Doctors didn't think you would walk at all, and you end up being a Paralympian. You kind of got a lot going on the physical side. So I don't
Humble
think
brag.
you faced the adversity that has slowed you down. Now, what are your extrinsic and intrinsic motivators? I know you're a dad, and you want to impact the community as it relates to, athletes with disabilities or athletes trying to overcome adversity or individuals, all together trying to overcome adversities in life. What motivates you now to continue to make history?
Um, for me, it's that version of myself when I was younger that was bullied, that didn't really have a sense of purpose, that didn't have friends, um, that really only had family. And even my two older brothers bullied me until I got big enough to stop it. But it was finding my purpose and understanding that there was something for me to do out there that really changed my perspective of life. And this was even before uh, track and field. This was finding out that my voice can help somebody else's day. My efforts can make somebody else smile in the sense of bringing everybody up. That's who I am. I like to shed that light, share that compliment that stranger might not ever see me again in their life. But at that point in the day, I liked their shirt and that made them smile. And I feel having more of that will allow people to see, hey, I can do what I love. I can go out there and be myself without being apologetic without hurting anybody else and love my life because nowadays, especially because of the excess of information given to the youth and given to the next generation, it is hard for them to find purpose. I've noticed and when I go to speak to schools, I can tell, and they have these questions of what should I do, of what is there out there, because it's so quick to give them that dopamine from their phone. It's so quick to give them that answer that they didn't know before, and to me, it's hard. It makes it really hard. I have loved ones that are going through some of the hardest times very young in their life because they understand how hard the world is, but they don't necessarily see the light in it as well. So my goal, my motivations outside of being a father and wanting to be that version of myself that somebody can look up to and be motivated by and love forever. Because the two little children I'm raising, Aubrey who's 12 and Atlas who's about to be 2, see me as a superhero. So it's keeping up that superhero persona for them, but for the community and for what I'm trying to accomplish is motivating others to go out there and be the best version of themselves that day, because you can't be the best version of yourself ever every day. That's unrealistic. So you have to get a optimistic realism, in my opinion, is to go, I'm going to be optimistic, but I'm going to be realistic about this optimism. I'm not going to be harmful with this optimism. I'm not going to put an image in my head that isn't possible to achieve, but each day I'm going to approach life in an optimistic way that is going to be beneficial to me. I'm going to practice neuroplasticity to be positive for myself and for the things around me, to be able to be open to opportunities presenting themselves so that I can live my best life. And I want people to understand that it starts here. It starts here. Starts, your words have power, your thoughts have power, and to be able to put those into play for yourself starting from a young age. Because I learned it very young. I learned that what I think and what I say comes true in the sense of how much I believe it and how much I put effort towards it. So I want to teach those around me to use your words, use your thoughts to motivate yourself, to get yourself out of that slump, to fight that depression. You're still here. You're winning that battle, right? So to me, it's about motivating others to find that inner motivation, to look at me and go, you inspired me, but now I inspire myself, to get up that next day, to push yourself a little bit harder, to be okay with being uncomfortable, to reach those goals, or to change that life into that life you want. Because a lot of people get stuck. And I've been stuck for a couple minutes every once in a while. I get sad. You can only do so
Yeah.
much. But I go, you know what? There's no time to stay sad. The world don't stop for me. Let's keep going. And I get up, dust my shoulders off, hug my son, and sometimes it's the craziest moments. I'm doing dishes and my brain can't concentrate enough to get these dishes done. And it's a mix of my ADHD and my cerebral palsy. Cognitively, I just get so frustrated at the end of the day sometimes that I can't necessarily get things done, and that's what gets me.
Hmm.
It's knowing, am I doing enough for my son? Am I doing enough training to go out there and run an A standard to help support my family? And it gets me down, but then I go, but I'm doing my best. I am doing as much as I can today. You are a human that is kind. You are somebody that is doing as much as you can. You are doing as much as you can for your son. And you can plug this in for who you are, right? If you want to be an artist, you
Yeah.
are taking that time to draw, taking that time to paint. If you want to be in school, you are doing your best to go to these study groups. You are doing your best to ask your professors questions so they can communicate back and forth to you, because communication as humans is one of the things that we have that other animals don't necessarily have in the same way. We can ask questions because we're curious. We can ask questions to understand and get a new perspective, and that is something that we have that not a lot of people have. So use that ability to ask questions, even if it's inside your head when you're doubting yourself. Oh, you're terrible. Are you terrible though? Because you were great at this today. Hit it with facts. You did this fantastically. So that thought is a thought. It's not truth. And separate that from yourself so that you can have that better day, so that you can get out of these slumps. Because that's sometimes it takes a lot. So that's, I guess, a long explanation is to really help
And we might
drive
need to
that
put this in
light.
a can and sell it, Ryan. You need to package this, man. We need to get this out there on the shelves. Man.
Hey, I'll do
it
motivational
was
Such good
speaking for
long,
stuff.
free.
but
I just
impactful.
want to get out there and tell people so
No, no,
they
no,
can
no. You
understand,
ain't
because
doing nothing for free. We ain't doing nothing for
it's
free. Yeah.
just to
You
start,
got
just to get
family
that message
support,
out there,
man.
because
Doing
it's,
nothing for
yeah,
free. Yeah.
that's true.
You said you touched on obviously neuroplasticity, positive self talk, optimistic reality,
Realism,
right? Is that what you said?
realism.
Optimistic realism. Okay, there we go. How do you exercise optimistic realism in your pursuit continuously now, athletically, as an Paralympian? Now we have LA 2028 coming and approaching here rather rapidly. And you've kind of touched on the difficulties you face, not only as a man or a father or, an individual with a disability or disabled man, but also just, all of those things in combination with, attempting to prepare and train for said games in LA. So how do you exercise that optimistic realism in your approach to Wednesday, because today's Tuesday. So
Yeah. So with that, I use for me specifically, I like to track everything on my Whoop. I like to be able to see, hey, I need to go to sleep, baby, baby boy, come here, let's go to sleep. Like I like to control as much as I can, like I said before. My training, I go 110%, but I listen to my body as well. Let's say I go on the track and I do 110%, but then I go to lift and my knees are like, hey, you've been going a little hard this week. I can understand and communicate to my coach. Hey, I didn't do my squats today. I did do A, B, and C, but I was listening to my body. And I have never gotten a response other than that was a good idea. Good job. Because they understand that we can only do so much. So it's being able to communicate to yourself and those around me, or at least for me, I communicate to myself. What did you do today that pushes yourself forward? Having that mental willpower, whether it's developing it through cold plunges or doing cryotherapy to where you're at negative 220 degrees. So when you see that candy that isn't part of your diet because you're trying to get a little bit thinner, so you have a little less to push on the track, you go, I don't need that. When you see that alcohol that you're like, it gives me a good head change, but it hurts my brain and it hurts my recovery, so I don't need that. Being able to say no. And those are the things that are the realism. The realism is that I can't have A, B, and C. My optimism is that it's going to improve my end goal, which is being faster, being recovered better. And being recovered better isn't just for track. Like I like to take my son and my daughter on hikes. I like to be able to be up and around and have energy at the end of the day to spend with them. And if I'm not recovering properly, if I'm not hydrating, if I'm not eating well, if I'm not, you know, doing my calves, I'm over here limping around. I'm over here tired. Sorry, Bubba, I can't throw you up too much because I didn't recover right. Or I'm trying to give my son a shower and my bicep cramps up because my cerebral palsy on my right side is kicking my butt that day. Maybe we got to switch sides. So it's about controlling my environment to put it into that perspective. Having a good environment in here that is constantly thinking. And I literally, honestly, I've been working on to give you a specific thing I'm working on right now is low heel recovery. It is a staple of sprinters that are high performance, being able to do that so you spend less time in the air, more time on the ground to put that energy back in. So I've been working on that and I do a few extra reps. My coach gave me 350-meter sprints uphill. I did 350-meter sprints uphill and another 5 10-meter sprints uphill to get and practice that low heel recovery and send it to him and ask his opinion. That is something I feel I'm being optimistic in the fact that I'm doing a little bit extra. I am thinking I can get to this goal, but the realism is I'm not there yet. Let me send it to my coach and get critiqued. Be open for criticism constructively so that I can be better. Because once you're the best, once you think you cannot learn anymore, you're not the best anymore. There's always somebody putting in work at some point in time. So practicing positive self-talk throughout my reps and being able to constructively criticize myself. Like if I have a rep, my heel recovery is terrible. I go, that was garbage. But I don't say it in a sense that I really think it was garbage. I just say it so I can consciously go, the way that felt, I do not want to do it again in my next rep. So I make it very um, extra when I go, hey, that was terrible. Don't do that. Okay, I won't do that again. Let's do this instead. Then when it goes well, or I get that was great, your form was great. I'm like, yeah, like I revel in it. I love it. So I take the wins. You got to take those wins when you get them and be able to constructively criticize yourself realistically to be able to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to highlight this. I mean, I heard everything you said, and I hear a lot of signs of why you were great. Seems like you're motivated, you're disciplined, you challenge yourself. So the one thing I do want to ask is, you have to be able to fall in love with the process. So whether it be competition, opportunities, money, finances, whatever the case may be, where do you find yourself having fun in this sport and competing, traveling? It could be. I mean, you highlighted earlier that you train by yourself. That can't be fun. I know you enjoy your camaraderie of your teammates, etc. So talk to us about that in case somebody's looking to get in the sport. What's something fun they can look forward to?
So off the bat, everybody, in my opinion, I haven't heard anybody say otherwise, the travel. I have been able to travel to Paris twice, Japan. I'm an anime. I got an anime tattoo right here. So being able to go to Japan was with Jaden Blackwell. We visited Tokyo together. Took the bullet train. Like went to the anime district. Like it was fantastic. And then Chile, beautiful mountains. Being able to compete there. I'm also competitive. So if you're competitive, do it for you. But being able to travel, the healthcare, I was in Colorado, like I said, for about 3 weeks l- for free. They flew me out, they fed me. There was a fantastic cafeteria there. I usually just had grilled chicken and sweet potato fries because I was trying to lose weight, which worked. And I got to figure out what was the best way to handle my disability, to manage my disability, so that I was in the least amount of pain, because I'm not going to have no pain, but I'm going to be in the least amount of pain, competing as hard as I possibly can, training as hard as I possibly can. I got to learn that for 3 weeks. They put me up in a great room. I got to take baths because I don't have a bath here, so I got to take baths. The camaraderie of your team, being able to run for Team USA, and have that flag on your back after you win is you'll see it in my face. I'm dead after a 400, but I'm still smiling. It looks ugly, but I'm still smiling because there's that sense of I did this. It gives you like goosebumps times 10, especially when I was up getting that medal. I was like, ooh, like it is a feeling of satisfaction, of justification of every time you stepped on the track, every time you push yourself to the point, me specifically, to where my brain hurt and my vision went away because my sometimes I lose vision and my hamstrings will lock up and my brain will give me this huge migraine and I'm like I can't move, I can't see, I'm basically like a vegetable right now. I'm gonna lay on the ground until I get my vision back and then I'll walk around. And I've done that several times, but each time I push it a little bit harder. And the justification and that satisfaction of what you're doing was worth it. And it was like, ooh, like, ugh. Like even now, I still get those goosebumps. But that satisfaction of being handed that medal, or the satisfaction of beating your own time alone. Like when I started, I wasn't winning, but I was getting faster. I was winning against myself. It creates this community, at least where I'm at. Whenever I go to either track, I get this community of people that, oh, hey, Ryan, good to see you here. I haven't seen you on. Oh, I've been at the other track. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. How have you been? How have your races been? And it's that almost like a family bond that they know me so well that they, I saw you on TV on Raid the Cage. Like, that's not like, it gets me so excited that people are following my story. I feel like a main character in an anime or a TV show because I walk in and people are like, it's cool. It's definitely something that is something to look forward to, but also being that small percentage of the world. I take pride being that small percentage of the world that can do what we do, that make it to where we make it to the world's biggest stage, to a medal run.
So you just mentioned a few things I wanted to highlight. You just talked about community, getting excited, and then you talked about USA Track and Field and USA TF Pair. Can't hear me? What about now?
So sorry. Will you let him know that his phone connected to the car?
Your phone connected to the car. Your phone connected to the car
On your car.
right now. Yeah,
Phone? Your phone?
it's
Let
connected
me
to
go.
your
Let
car.
me go
Your
tell him.
car.
Yeah. Okay, he understood. Yeah.
I was like, is he pointing at me?
There we go. There we go.
Sweet. So
That is
great. I
that is
love
a
it.
first.
That's the first. Yeah. That's the first.
That is a
right there.
first. So you just touched on a few topics, and I want to make sure we kind of use this as a segue. So you talked about USA Track and Field, Para Track and Field, community, etc. This is the first time that I'm aware of that USA Track and Field, USA Para Track and Field, and USA Track and Field will share a venue for their national championships. We know they combined under one entity, but I wanted to see, what are you most excited about some of the able-bodied athletes and or fans being able to come watch you compete? Is there anything else
Being
you're
able to
excited about?
see like the like Noah Lyles and everybody that's like high performance, me watching that because the way my brain works, if I see it, I can do it to an extent of my body, right? So being able to see people that are that much faster than me compete is one gonna make me so riled up that I'm gonna run a PR regardless of how I feel, and two, allow me to be in that atmosphere of how they compete because there are things that I did need to change when I competed in Paris because I'm very friendly, regardless of my sport. Even when I was a wrestler in high school, coach would go, "Everybody stay on our side. Ryan, we can't control him. He's going to talk to everybody." And I do. I would talk to my competitors. We'd wrestle, then we'd talk afterwards. Like, I love connecting with people, so that's who I am. But
You drive me
what I
crazy.
noticed when I was in Paris, the volunteers loved it. They loved the energy of the Paralympians. But when I had to go up and race, I had to shut that part of me off to get into the zone because I had to beat these people now. So to be able to see how they are going to be operating as athletes, to be able to possibly talk to them, because I eventually want to do like a training. I want to fly out to wherever Noah is and train with him for a little bit just to see it, just to see what he does. Because my training is obviously working, but to gain another perspective, to see something in a different light, would be fantastic. But to not only have that, but the support and the fame of U.S. track and field, to see para track and field and go, oh, we like watching this too. To be able to get that coverage, I think would be great for para track and field because I understand as an athlete, marketing wise, why they get paid more, right? They get more viewership. They're able to get more people watching the sport, more commercial time, A, B, and C. I want to eventually, even if I'm not in the sport anymore, be an advocate to get the Paralympic side to that same level to where we're having almost the same or if not the same viewership so that we can have both sides supported so that we can have Paralympic athletes just being athletes. Because I'll tell you what, if I just had to train and recover and be a dad, oh boy, I would be living the life. That's my dream, to motivationally speak, train, recover, be a dad. Oh, I would be so fast, so fast. When I was in Colorado, that's all I did: train, recover. And I was beating. We had testing out there. I beat my testing for my 30 meter. I beat my testing for some of my shot put and my throws by more than 1 or 2 meters. So being able to just focus on being an athlete is the dream. And
Yeah.
this coming together at nationals, being able to share that same venue, will help people to see Paralympic and Olympic are both world class athletes. Yes, Olympic are going to run. I can't beat Olympic runners, but my brain, I like to say, my brain don't work. My body doesn't work the same. So to be able to be an advocate for those with silent disabilities or invisible disabilities, such as myself, because I get all the time, Paralympic, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. My body's in pain. I have to find a good way to sleep that's not in pain. Driving hurts. I explained to him, like, dang, you don't show it. I was like, yeah, because for the last 27 years, I have learned to compensate to look like everybody else. Because when you grow up with a disability and you get bullied for it, you don't like to show that disability. When your disability hurts you and you want to show that you're the best, whether it's in sport or in workplace, you don't show that your right leg kind of lags behind. You walk regular, but you have to. Personally have to think straight foot, straight foot, straight foot, straight foot all the time, or you can tell I have mild cerebral palsy. So to be able to be an advocate on a bigger stage, or at least have that opportunity for more people to see us, um, is going to be fantastic. I was just talking to Noelle yesterday. I talk to Noelle all the time, by the way. I'm going to her wedding, and it's going to be so cute. um, but I called her yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, like we talked for a bit. Then we texted, and I was like, yeah, that's when that's just like it's this time. I'm so ready." So we're excited, like definitely excited to showcase the amount of work we've been putting in at nationals, and to be able to really talk. Like, I've met a few Olympians. I got lucky enough to meet some at the Braves game coming back from Paris, and I met some right there, sitting right there in that chair, at Paris, and I also met
Yeah.
some at the White House, and they're fun. I guess when they're not in competition, they're just like everybody else. But I want to see them in that, and almost in that cutthroat
Exactly.
environment, because I
Exactly.
got to see them, laughing with everybody else. I want to see that drive that they have, that type of energy that they have, and I want to absorb it for myself, and I want to use it on the track. Now, as soon as my race is done, back to me. But during the race, I want to have that killer instinct
Harness
almost.
that energy, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I'm looking forward to.
Can you tell us before we wrap here? You know, it's important that the fans and everybody watching know where to find you. So obviously, you have your social media handles. You're beginning your public speaking journey, motivational speaking journey. Let the folks know where they can find you, how they can get in contact with you to continue to tune in on your story.
I'm mostly on Instagram. Instagram's going to be fast_track182. And I also have a LinkedIn that I'm starting to build up, which is going to be Ryan Medrano. You'll see me in that. I'll put that link in my Instagram so that you guys can find that in my bio. But yeah, definitely reach out. Even if you want to reach out through email, it's going to be ryanmdrn@icloud.com if you need any events done, things like that, because I want to spread this message. I want to motivate others. I want, even if you're not an athlete, I want you to live your best life. I want you to have access to mobility. I want you to be able to look at a hard day and go, but there's still tomorrow.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ryan, for that. You being motivated and staying motivated to have an impact on other people's lives, and also be motivated on the track, man. We appreciate you for joining us. We wish you continued success in your training and preparation for Mount Sac, which I know is a few days here coming up. And obviously, your journey as being a dad, man, that's exciting. Father of two is exciting, man. Wish you continued success and luck in that. Wallace, you got anything in closing?
Man, good luck this season, big dog. Can't wait to see you compete.
Thank you.
All right, Ryan. Well, thank you for joining
sled
us.
pulls, and I'm gonna kill them today because of this interview. It made me extremely excited.
All right, Ryan. Well, good luck with the sled today, man. And thank you for joining us for another episode.
Peace.